Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. If you like The Mike Wagner Show and you want to make your own podcast, well, let me tell you about Anchor. First of all, it's free. Secondly, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can also add any song from Spotify directly to your episodes. The possibilities are endless. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. You can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. This edition of The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs? The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift of Grandma's recipes, or just because, those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit PictureThisPhotoBooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bringing your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books. Remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. Who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift for Grandma's recipes or just because, those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw, Picture This Photo Books at 646-798-0809 or visit PictureThisPhotoBooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bring your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com and over 30 podcast platforms. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And also support The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Also on Anchor FM as well as PayPal. And check out The Mike Wagner Show merchandise at themikewagnershow.com and Amazon.com at The Mike Wagner Show podcast, t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, and hoodies, throw pillows, tote bags, and more. Makes great gifts year round. Also, great gifts from the Me and Molson Zia store on Amazon. Check out Missing, Once, Wrinkles, and all the cool merchandise. That's Amazon.com/Me and Molson Zia. And make sure you do so today. We're here with a very terrific gentleman who is out of the New York area, and he's known for the smash hit from the 70s, Ariel, which was top 20. And of course, some made it to top 5, like in Chicago and more. And recently appeared on a 6-night virtual show over at the Edinburgh Fringe Fest, and also composed soundtracks for TV and film, including NBC's Erie, Indiana, also Nickelodeon's Nick Arcade, and Central TV series Boom. And also released a number of great releases like Squirrels in the Attic, and also has some other works too, like Dean Zine Live Stream, The Songwriter's Handbook, and of course, a lot more as well. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studio somewhere in beautiful New York State, the very multi-talented singer-songwriter of American Lullaby, Dean Friedman. Dean, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Mike, pleased to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you on board, too. So you had the smash hit Ariel back in the 70s, which we all sang to, back in the day. It was top 20, and you recently appeared in a 6-night virtual show over the Edinburgh Fringe Fest, and you also composed soundtracks for TV and film, and you also released Squirrels in the Attic, and you also had released a number of releases as well, too, like 12 songs, Word and Music, Submarine Races, and the Treehouse Journals, and plenty more, even songs for grown-ups. I mean, you have done a lot over the course, and we'll be talking about American Lullaby as well, too. And before getting all that, Dean, tell us how you first got started.
Well, I was working a newspaper route in Paramus, New Jersey, delivering the Bergen Evening Record, and collected over a summer a bag full of quarters. I took him to 48th Street to man his music, dumped them on the counter, and I said, I'd like that guitar. And I brought it home, learned a few chords, and started playing Beatles songs and the Monkees, and eventually got ambitious enough to write some of my own songs. And that was when I was about 9 years old, and I never stopped. I've been doing it ever since.
I mean, I would have done the same thing too at 9. So I pick up something and just keep going and going and going. And what was that one moment that precisely influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your life, besides picking up that guitar and playing the Beatles? What was that one moment that simply said to you, "This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life"?
Well, I grew up in a house filled with music. My mom was a singer and performer and appeared on Broadway and film. And so I knew music was always going to be something that I did. I guess it might have been one of my first coffee house gigs where I played a set and someone handed me $15. And I thought, wow, gee, this is kind of amazing, getting paid for doing something I'd love to do anyway. I think that's where I saw the future. Although I'm still working on the getting paid part of it.
I think many of us as well, too. It's like, if you love what you're doing, it's not work, they say, too. So, and also, who are some of your other favorite artists, musicians growing up besides the Beatles and the other ones you mentioned?
Well, Mike, I grew up in an era where there were a lot of really wonderful singer-songwriters that came to the fore. I'm talking about folks like Joni Mitchell and Paul Simon and James Taylor, Bernie Taupin and Elton John. Folks who in particular wrote songs that, to my mind, painted very vivid pictures with their words and music. And that's something I always aspired to do starting out. And still to this day when I write. There's something about that kind of a song where it conjures up another place and time and invites the listener into the song, almost making the listener a co-conspirator and giving them permission to, inviting them to sort of fill out all the details in the song to make it their own. And that's my goal, because I see what I do as someone who writes short stories set to music. And if I can sort of engage the listener to become part of that story and to relate it to their own lives, well, that to me is half the job.
Mm-hmm. And what do you mainly base your short stories on? Like say, events happening, your life, or like books or anything? What do you mainly base the short stories on when it comes to your music?
I guess everything around me. You could describe me as one of those writers who abides by that axiom that you should write about what you know. So I do write about, my own life and the life of my family and friends and just the world around me. But I also make ample use of my poetic license, which I always keep in my back pocket in case I'm stopped for excessive alliteration or punning. And a poetic license is just a nice way of saying that I have permission as a writer to just lie and make things up.
Let's see your license. I'm sure it's like a driver's license. I'll have to get one of those and put it in my wallet.
You can make your own in crayon. It doesn't matter. If you call yourself an artist, then you're allowed to issue yourself a poetic license.
That's really interesting. And we'll talk about a lot of your music. You have a very interesting discography, including Ariel, and also talk about American Lullaby in just 1 minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention The Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia. Available on Amazon. Also, The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at a wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming, and what better time to give a gift for remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift for Grandma's recipes or just because, those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw, Picture This Photo Books, at 646-798-0809, or visit picturethisphotoBooks.com. Mention The Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bring your memories back to life. The whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show on over 30 podcast platforms. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. And don't forget to subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter today. And don't forget to check out The Mike Wagner Show merchandise at themikewagnershow.com and also on Amazon at The Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia and check out Missing, Once, and Wrinkles and great merchandise like t-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, and more. And don't forget to support The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, also on Anchor FM and PayPal, and make sure you do so today. We're here with the multi-talented singer-songwriter Dean Friedman here on The Mike Wagner Show, and you're known for that smash 70 hits Ariel as well, too, and that was a very fun tune, and tell us more about that, and how'd you get started on it?
Well, I grew up in Paramus, New Jersey, deep in the bosom of suburbia, and Ariel was sort of my love song to all these teenage girls I had a crush on growing up as a teenager myself in Paramus. They were all kind of smushed together into one idealized Ariel. And at first I was a little self-conscious because there was not much of a plot to the song. The guy meets a girl at the mall and they go out on a date, and then they wind up at the house watching TV and making out as the Star Spangled Banner signs off the air.
I remember those days. Yes. It's
yeah.
like 1 a.m. It's like, you better go to bed, guys.
Exactly. So at first I thought, well, gee, not much happens in the song. But then I played the recording for 2 teenage girls who lived on my block. And they accused me of reading their diaries. And so that was the point at which I thought, maybe I've struck a chord that resonates with the audience here. And indeed it did, because once it started getting airplay, it became the number 1 requested song on the top FM station in the country.
That is very interesting. And of course, a very recognizable pop song, free-spirited, pot-smoking, vegetarian Jewish girl that peasant blouse, lived and everything else. And, hearing it, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like.
Well, it was described by one journalist as the Great Gatsby of popular music, and that it conjured up an era with all the rich details and evoked those feelings and those sentiments of a place and time. And I do like to put a lot of granular detail in my songs, because I think it helps the listener place it in a place and time. It helps them fill out those details, any gaps, with their own imagination and their own experiences. And I guess I look forward to that kind of interaction and that kind of audience engagement.
And of course, speaking of audience engagements as well, too, you also had a song called "McDonald's Girl," which was officially banned by the BBC, but very amusing song. And tell us more about the song "McDonald's Girl," and makes me hungry for McDonald's right now.
Well, "McDonald's Girl" was just a pure pop song, and I knew as soon as I wrote it, there's some songs that that are going to have a certain appeal, and that was one. But because of the policies of the BBC broadcasting system in the United Kingdom, because it is semi-government controlled and non-commercial, they had strict policies against anything that even hinted of being an advertisement.
Oh, right.
And as a result, they banned McDonald's Girl when it was released. It was officially banned by the BBC. Along with the Sex Pistols and Lola's the Kinks' Lola, because they had to change it from Coca-Cola to Cherry Cola.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Reason.
Oh my gosh!
But I couldn't change the chorus to "McDonald's Girl," and as a result, it got no airplay in the UK. I was dropped by my label, but not too long after that, a then unknown band out of Canada, with the unlikely name of Bare Naked Ladies, did a cover version of my song "McDonald's Girl," and it became their first airplay hit in Canada and led to them getting a record deal and becoming one of the biggest bands in North America. And not too long after that, a band called the Blenders had a #1 hit with it in Norway.
Wow.
And it was the little song that could. It insisted on being heard. Because a few years after that, YouTube came along. And McDonald's Girl went viral all over the world. There were people lip syncing or singing their own versions of McDonald's Girl, acting out the story, and a cappella groups at Ivy League colleges were singing their own arrangements of McDonald's Girl. So it became a hit all by itself. It was a persistent little song, as I say, insisted on being heard. But it was finally about 33 years after it was released that I just a few years ago that I got a call from the McDonald's Corporation saying, "Mr. Friedman, we would like to license your song for a national TV and radio campaign."
Oh, wow. Amazing.
And I said, that's what I said. I said, "Oh, wow. Well, what took you so gosh darn long?" So that's my plan, is to write a great pop song and then, sit on my ass for about 30 years until someone figures it out.
And I see you having something from McDonald's right now. It's like maybe like a drink or something. And I'm having some McDonald's coffee as we speak here.
Oh, there you go. Well, you know what? When it was banned, I was sure that the BBC was afraid immediately upon hearing the song, millions of people would rush out to McDonald's to gorge themselves on hamburgers. But in the lyric, if you listen to the song, I never actually eat the hamburger. It's just a pretext for having an excuse to talk to the girl behind the counter that I was smitten with. So I always thought it could be more of a public service announcement, but they never saw it that way.
Oh my gosh. And then when the deal came up where it's like, we want to license you and everything else, I thought you can get a lifetime supply of Big Macs along with,
well, you would think so.
Whatever you put on, like $1 million contract or royalties and all that. It's like, ask for Big Macs lifetime.
Yeah, lots and lots of French fries.
Oh, you're making me more hungry. Oh my gosh. And of course, that came from that album, Well Said, the Rocking Chair. I had Lydia, Rocking Chair, Woman of Mine. And I mean, you had just about a lot of tunes on there too. So if you want to talk about those, that's fine. And you also had 12 songs, Word and Music, Submarine Races, Squirrels in the Attic, the Treehouse Journals, Song for Grown-Ups, Rumple Romeo, and tell us about some of your works as well too. If you want to talk about some of the singles, that's fine too. If there's anything else, feel free to talk as well.
Well, McDonald's Girl was off my third album, Rumpled Romeo, but after it was banned, as I say, it did derail my recording career for a while. But I did get very much involved doing virtual reality video games for Nickelodeon television and doing soundtrack work for TV and the occasional low-budget horror film. Mm-hmm. But finally, when the internet came along, I was able to reconnect with my audience because I had a bunch of songs and I wanted to record a new album, but I needed the money to upgrade my studio and pay musicians. So I wrote an email to the folks that had been following my website. And I said, look, I'm ready to record a new album, but I need to finance it somehow. If you pre-order the CD, then I'll have enough money to go in the studio and start recording. And I was a little afraid that everyone would write back and say, oh, Dean, why don't you get a proper job? Like
what proper job? It's like you got enough McDonald's already.
Right. So... but in fact, enough people, well, some people did write that, but enough people were supportive of the idea that I was able to go back in the studio and record a new album, which was the Treehouse Journals. This was in 2001, and this was almost 8 years before Kickstarter and crowdfunding ever existed. Mm-hmm. So this is really one of the very first crowdfunding efforts on the internet.
Wow.
And I've been crowdfunding my albums ever since then. And for that, I am eternally grateful to my enthusiastic listening audience because they make it possible for me to do what I do.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you also had some others as well, too, like A Million Matzo Balls, George Washington Slept Here, Saturday Fathers, and also, I bought a vampire motorcycle, and I mean, you're just all over the gamut on this stuff. And Live the Duke of York, and I'm looking over here. It's just like, boys, it's like, I want to take these turn these into a story for my kids and grandkids. It's like, I mean, you just have a plethora that's enough to entertain, like, generations of stories, bedtime stories and everything.
Well, Mike, I've been doing it for a while, and I've got about 9 studio albums under my belt. The newest one, American Lullaby, is my 9th studio album. But as you referenced, I've also got a couple of kids' albums out. I've written a lot of kids' songs, and there have been, since I've released them, there have been at least 1 or 2 generations of kids that have grown up listening to those silly kid songs with apparently no ill effects, at least so far. So yeah, like I say, I just started writing songs when I was 9 and I never stopped. And I have no plans to stop in the near future either.
And of course, make sure you eat your McDonald's and that's how you keep going.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but whatever it is that fuels you and motivates you, that's, worth paying attention to. To get the job done.
Mm-hmm. And that's certainly amazing as well, too. We'll talk about American Lullaby from Dean Friedman in just a minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia Missing, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Also brought to you by Picture This Photo Books. Remembering is the key ingredient. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. And we'll be back with the multi-talented singer-songwriter Dean Friedman with American Lullaby after this timeout.
This edition of the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs? The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift of Grandma's recipes, or just because, those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit PictureThisPhotoBooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bringing your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We're back at singer-songwriter Dean Friedman, best known for his hit Ariel back in the 70s here on the Mike Wagner Show, and going from the gamut, going from Ariel to McDonald's Girl, also to some TV series and NBC's Erie, Indiana, and a bunch of albums in between. And we come across your newest with American Lullaby. And let's talk about your album and what inspired you to go with the album.
Well, the new album, American Lullaby, is my personal reaction to all the crazy stuff that has happened here in America and really around the world over the last couple of years. And I know there have been difficult times for a lot of people. And as a songwriter, my sort of innate reaction is to try and wrap my head around what's going on by writing a song. It doesn't necessarily mean that I understand what's happening, but at the very least, I try and address it and acknowledge it because, there are a lot of issues that we're grappling with today that we can't ignore or make believe didn't happen because there are more things coming down the pike we need to be prepared for. And so that's part of what I see my job as a singer-songwriter to do is to sort of talk about things in my life that I care about, even if they're confusing, and to share them with whoever cares to listen. And so American Lullaby addresses a lot of the difficult topics that we're grappling with. The very sort of serious cultural split here in America, and our pretty dysfunctional politics at the moment, on top of the pandemic, which is ongoing, on top of the climate crisis, which people used to call a pending climate crisis or the looming climate crisis. Apparently, it's no longer looming, nor is it pending. It's here and now. Mm-hmm. The West Coast is on fire. Europe is underwater. Hurricanes are bashing the South.
Of course, New York got flooded and some areas got hit with a major drought. Crops pretty much withered up. And of course, along the South, hurricanes galore. It seemed like hurricanes every day. We're probably in like maybe Hurricane Johnny, next up Hurricane Karen, or Hurricane Larry, or maybe Hurricane Marcia or something. It's like every day comes across these hurricanes.
I'm looking forward to Hurricane Mo, because I don't think we've ever had a Hurricane Mo, and I just like the sound of that. Hurricane Mo. I hope it's a little squall and just dissipates and doesn't hurt anybody. But that's my look. But simply the point is that the album is filled with all the things that everybody I know is concerned about on a daily basis. But even though I was dealing with what I knew were often difficult topics, I wanted to find some kind of format to discuss them that wasn't going to just send people screaming, running off into the hills.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I used the model of a lullaby. Because if you think about it, Mike, all lullabies in every culture around the world share one very curious property in common, which is that as a parent is trying to lull their little baby to sleep, mm-hmm. singing a very soothing, gentle melody in a quiet, comforting tone. Mm. If you listen to the words they're singing, they're terrifying. The lyrics, lullabies and fairy tales are filled with all these horrible things that happen to kids. Mm-hmm. And think about Rockabye Baby. Rockabye baby on the treetop.
It's like, when the wind blows, we're going to knock you out.
That's right. The cradle will rock, the bow breaks, the kid falls, the cradle falls on its head. First of all, Mike, I got to ask, what is this kid doing up in the tree in the first place?
I guess that's a question I never bothered to ask, and I never figured it out. And of course, we can always look it up online. I mean, we got our phones, we got our laptops, and we got the Fitbits, and soon to be like Dick Tracy wristwatches back in the day. And I'm sure everybody's scrambling to it right now. And of course, if you're listening, if you find out, the answer to it, let us know. And
well, it's a good point, and I did think about it, Mike, and I concluded finally that a likely reason is that parents everywhere share a universal desire to prepare their kids for what's to come, for their futures, to instill important lessons in those gentle nursery rhymes and lullabies, to prepare kids as they grow and face the world for some of the terrors, some of the dangers that they're likely to face. And they don't want to send them out into the world completely unarmed and unprepared. And I think that's the function of a lullaby. But again, they don't want to terrify them, so they do it in a soothing way. And so that was my model for my new album, American Lullaby. I'm dealing with a lot of serious topics. I'm dealing with the original sins of America, the massacre of the indigenous population, 200 plus years of slavery, both abetted by our inexplicable love affair with guns, unique to any modern civilization. Mm-hmm. I love America. I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud of so many things that America has done and stands for. But there are things that I'm not proud of that we've done. And people say, oh, well, that's in the past. But it's not. The past is really not the past. Mm-hmm. It continues and persists to this day. And unless we face some of these mistakes we've made, unless we acknowledge them, then we are doomed to repeat them in the future. So,
wasn't some philosopher that said that we're doomed to repeat history? Who's on? I've heard that phrase. Who's the philosopher that said that? I can't remember. Is it Santiana or something?
Might well be. I'm sure it's been said in many forms in many ways, because it's just a fact of life. And, it's okay. I tell my kids, it's okay if you want to lie to me or if you want to lie to your teacher, but that's not a good idea, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But what's not acceptable at all is if you lie to yourself. Because if you lie to yourself, then you're really setting yourself up for harm. And that's how I feel about America, is that we can't lie to ourselves about how we got here. Because the problems we're facing today, we just didn't get here overnight. Some of their origins go back hundreds of years. And we're not going to be able to fix some of these problems unless we admit that. It doesn't mean we're horrible. It just means that we make mistakes. We got to improve. We got to do better. Mm-hmm. And so that's some of the subject matter in the new album. But also, anyone that's familiar with my albums and the music that I make knows that it's really eclectic and that there's always an ample dose of humor and silliness, even in the most serious songs that I write and record. And so I promise that your listeners that the album American Lullaby is not all doom and gloom. In fact, it's got a lot of infectious, fun stuff in it, included with some of the serious stuff. And so far, the reaction to it has been really strong and positive and powerful. And for that, I'm really grateful.
And of course, you got some songs in there too, like Halfway Normal World, The Russians Are Coming, Welcome to Stupid Town on a Summer's Night, and Just Another Birthday Song. I like that one. So,
well, you know what? The Hill Sisters, two kindergarten teachers, wrote the Happy Birthday that we all know 125 years ago.
Wow.
It was something they wrote to get their kindergarten students to sing along. And it's a great song. I love it. But I figure, they had a good run. It might be time for a new one. And so that's why I wrote Just Another Birthday Song and included it on the new album, in part also to remind myself and anyone who cares to listen that even in the midst of difficult times, which we're going through still, that even in the midst of those difficult times, it's still incumbent upon us to be clear-eyed about those gifts and blessings that we do enjoy, and to cherish them and to celebrate them. So that's why in an album that's filled with songs about the climate disaster and the pandemic and crazy politics, a song like Just Another Birthday Song is a reminder that we still have to get up every day and show up and live our lives and celebrate those good things that are worth celebrating.
And what are some of the other problems that you encounter or you take head on in this album as well, too, besides the racism, the fractured politics and culture war, climate change and everything else? What are some of the other topics that you take on in the album?
Well, it really does run the gamut. I address politics to a degree, and not to upset some of your listeners, but one of the songs is titled "The Russians Are Coming," and I'm a quarter Russian. My grandmother, my Nana, was actually born in Odessa. I guess what used to be the Ukraine, and then came over here as an infant. So I guess I'm 1/4 Russian. But I wrote the song trying to understand what happened in the 2016 election. And what I did was I downloaded and I read the Senate Intelligence Committee's report on Russian interference in the 2016 election, bearing in mind, Mike, that it was a bipartisan committee. Republicans and Democrats, both sides of the aisle, examined the evidence and wrote this report. And it concluded pretty conclusively that there was a lot of Russian interference in the 2016 election, and that folks like, Paul Manafort and Roger Stone were deeply involved in that. And everyone says, well, how come no one was indicted? Well, the reason is because Paul Manafort and Roger Stone kept their mouths shut. And that's what the song is about. And I invited my cousin, Dinsky Sonobovich, to narrate the words to "The Russians Are Coming." And it's all done in good fun, but telling a truthful story, which is factually based on the congressional record. So if anyone wants to refute the lyrics to that song or what happened, they can just go online to the government website, download the bipartisan report from the Senate Intelligence Committee, and decide for themselves.
I thought we blamed it on vodka all this time. Now we know. Thanks for clearing it up. Now we're not going to blame it on vodka. So.
Well, I tell you the truth. I'm sure vodka played a large role in whatever transpired.
So that's why Manafort and the rest kept their mouths shut. They're drinking too much vodka. They couldn't speak after a while.
I'm sure that was the case.
Must have been pretty good vodka. I'll have to find out what brand they drank, and we can just try it.
Sounds good.
And of course, you also had Welcome to Stupid Town on a Summer's Night, and maybe just a few more you want to talk about. If there's anything else you want to cover as well, too, like with other albums or other releases or what's coming up, feel free to do so as well.
Well, there's another track on the new album that a lot of people enjoy. It's called Too Much Stuff. I hope you'll get a chance to play it on your show. It's some might view it as a sort of a satirical take on obsessive consumerism, but others might consider it a reflection of the fine line between being an astute collector of rare artifacts versus being an out-and-out hoarder. And the funny thing is, Mike, is that almost all of my family and friends are convinced that I wrote the song just for them.
Blame it on Amazon for collecting.
Exactly. Well, there you go. But I think a lot of people that hear Too Much Stuff and all the things that I've collected will relate to a great degree to the sentiments expressed in the song.
Huh. Interesting. I mean, I collect coffee mugs. I have beer can collection back in the 70s when it was big. Does that mean we have to get rid of collections or something?
It doesn't at all. It's our nature, and it's just fun to poke fun at it now and then.
I guess I have to re-examine my collecting policies as well, too. And where can we find American Lullaby and all your works at, Dean?
Mike, your listeners can find American Lullaby on my website, which is deanfriedman.com, but also on all the likely streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon. And you can purchase the CDs as well on Amazon, and as well as my many albums and CDs and books. And the only thing I would say is that I encourage your listeners to stream the music as much as possible and hopefully listen to it on your station when it's playlisted. But I also would remind them that the streaming services don't pay artists much at all. They pay them 1/1000th of a penny. So the only way artists can survive is if listeners, their audience, purchase CDs and the like directly from the artist's website. So as I say, stream to your heart's content, but purchase direct from the artist, and that makes a difference. And
of course, like Spotify, users out there, it's like you got to do this like 1 trillion times. So help them out. 1 trillion. That's the goal. or is it Google? It's like I've lost track after a while. So.
Well, they all are structured that way. It's criminal. It's abusive. It needs to be changed by legislation because it means a whole generation of musicians will not be able to make a living or pursue their livelihoods. And it needs to be corrected because, I won't go on and on about it, but these big companies are making billions of dollars and the folks that run them are billionaires. But the artists that contribute all the content are borrowing money to get to their offices or from one place to the other.
Mm-hmm. And I can see where crowdfunding comes in. I can see all these people out there, damn you Bezos, and all that. So
yeah, I mean, look, I'm all for outer space. I think it'd be fun to wind up with a base on the moon and Mars. But I think we can do two things at once. I think we can explore space, but also apportion money to treat the arts fairly, and not just artists. Really, the whole way our society is structured. One thing that the pandemic has really highlighted in stark relief is the huge systemic inequities that exist. We applaud essential workers as heroes, but we don't want to pay them. And you know what? I'd rather that firemen, policemen, and nurses and doctors, doctors, they're covered, but the rest of them, I'd rather they get paid a fair, equitable wage than be called heroes. And I'd say the same is true of all those lower wage, essential services, people that served us in restaurants. And it really is It's just simply unfair and unnecessary. Not every society is structured the way America is. I mean, healthcare is one basic example. I spent a lot of time in the United Kingdom. They complain about their national health system, but they have a national health system. And we're still, trying to wrap our heads around the concept. And it's just kind of foolish and idiotic that in this day and age, America still allows people to go bankrupt if they get sick. It's just wrong and unnecessary.
And of course, some people are wanting the Canada system as well, too. But the Canadians complain about the system. It's like, everybody looks to us as a model, but we complain about it. England, complains about they have a great system. It's almost like, yeah, I'm speechless about this whole thing.
Yeah, well, it's a puzzle. But eventually people will figure it out because it works everywhere else in the world. And for some reason, in the United States, we're still not willing to do it. And the reason is simple, because the powers that be don't want to change a system that benefits them.
And that'll be another topic for another time as well, too. And we're here with singer-songwriter Dean Friedman of American Lullaby here on the Mike Wagner Show. Just a few more minutes, and love to have you back on. You've been absolutely amazing. And what can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond, Dean?
Well, I am dedicated to doing what I can to get the word out about the new album. I'm really proud of it. And the reaction so far has been really, really positive. A lot of folks that have been following my music and listening to it for, 4 decades plus now, claim that it's the best thing I've ever done. And that's gratifying to hear. You always want to at least not get any worse. But so I'm committed to the songs and to the music and the recording to do what I can, like I'm doing now, talking to you, Mike. To get the word out there, to invite folks to just take a listen and see if it's something that strikes a chord that moves you in some way that you can relate to. And so far, a lot of folks have said, yeah, that sounds just about right.
And I've listened to it myself, too, and that is totally amazing. It's like, my kids are grown, but it's like I'll probably do the lullaby with pats of my cat or dog and to the tune as well. So,
well, that's great to hear, Mike. I appreciate it.
That's amazing as well, too. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career, Dean?
Well, as I said earlier, I always had an affinity for singer-songwriters who are storytellers and paint pictures with their words and music. And I would include folks like Joni Mitchell and Paul Simon and James Taylor and Randy Newman, Bernie Taupin and Elton John. Those are songs that really had an impact on me growing up. But I also always had eclectic tastes. There was always some Broadway show tune on the piano or some classical aria on the turntable. I love jazz and folk and rock and country and you name it. That's why sometimes my albums have been accused by critics of being a little too eclectic. But I take that as a compliment, Mike, because I love all kinds of music. And for me, as a storyteller, I try to use the genre that I think best serves the story that's being told.
And that's very amazing, too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Well, the best advice to anybody, including musicians, I would say, is trust your instincts. Try not to always please everybody around you, because if you live your life pleasing other people, you're going to have a miserable life. Try to find out what you care about, things that are important to you, and do what you can to pursue those pursuits. As you said earlier, you said yourself, that if you find work that you love, it no longer becomes work. It still means you work hard at it, but you're motivated and you're driven to do it well because it's something that you care about. So, try to find what your passion is. And sometimes you can't always get rich following your bliss and your passion, but you can usually find a parallel path in that same general vicinity where you can make a living while you also do the things that you love. That's what my mom told me when she realized I was going to be a musician for a living. She said, well, always make sure you can find another way to pay the bills. And at first I laughed at her, but at the end of the day, that served me well. Because even after I was dropped by my label because the McDonald's girl was banned, I still was able to make a living and pay the bills, keep the electricity turned on and food on the table by doing things that I also loved. There was usually some musical component to it, but I wound up designing video games and doing museum exhibits and engaged in virtual reality. It was all fun stuff. There was always, as I say, some musical component to it. But it was because I pursued those things that I found really interesting and tried to find ways to make money within those interests. So that's the best advice I can give for whatever it's worth.
And you can thank the Geico lizard for that as well, too. So that's what I think of. So
okay, there you go. I would not argue with the Geico lizard. He knows what he's talking about.
Once again, singer-songwriter Dean Friedman of American Lullaby here on the Mike Wagner Show. Dean, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor. Keep us up to date. Love you back in 2021 beyond. Don't forget to keep in touch. Once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your music, especially American Lullaby?
Well, the best way to find me is visit my website. It's deanfriedman.com. And I can also be found on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Just type Dean Friedman in your search engine, and all those social media sites, those websites will pop up, and you'll be able to get in touch. And the best way is just send me an email to dean@deanfriedman.com and put you on the email list to get my monthly newsletter, keep you up to date about recordings and tour dates, because I honestly have to confess, Mike, I've never toured in your neck of the woods, but I really hope to someday soon. So if enough folks get in touch, I'll aspire to do just that, because it'll be a lot of fun.
Just let us know when you're coming up, and I'll show you around the town as well, too. So you let me know, and we'll just go from there. So
that sounds great. We'll go out to McDonald's.
Sounds good. Yeah, and more than McDonald's. We'll lay out our plans on McDonald's. Once again, singer-songwriter Dean Friedman and Mike Wagner Show. Dean, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch, and you've been absolutely fantastic. We definitely wish you all the best.
Thanks a lot, Mike. All the best. You too. Take care.
Don't you fret now, don't you cry. It's an American lullaby. Manifest destiny's a lie. It's an American lullaby. Half moon sailing through the night. Crack of a musket fired, first light. Always keep your powder dry. It's an American lullaby. Rest your head in dreams, you'll fly. It's an American lullaby. Blaze a trail across the sky. It's an American lullaby. creaking gourd will point the way. Stealth by night and sleep by day. And beg like Joe, you can rely. It's an American lullaby. Unclench your fist and dry your eye. It's an American lullaby. Judgment served from up on high. It's an American lullaby. One fine night in paradise, God of thunder rolls the dice. 1,000 rounds light up the sky. It's an American lullaby. And restless dreams we shall defy, but TV pundits prophesy. Best laid plans have gone awry. It's an American lullaby. He said, I cannot tell a lie. Cross my heart and hope to die. Still won't look you in the eye. It's an American lullaby. Close your eyes now, sleep is nigh. It's an American lullaby. Cross the shallows, do or die. It's an American lullaby. Headlights shining in the dark. Coyotes howl, the bloodhounds bark. You can hear the angels sigh. It's an American lullaby. Human kindness in short supply. It's an American lullaby.
Picture this photo books, where remembering is the key ingredient. Preserving memories, keeping the memories of your loved ones alive as they reach in and touch your heart. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whether it's a gift of past holidays, grandma's recipes, long ago moments, or just because, those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809. Once again, that's 646-798-0809. Or visit picturethisphotobooks.com.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.